Hi, this is Tracy, and welcome to the Woman Within You podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. So today I want to talk about the angry Black woman. I experienced a situation a couple weeks back where I was in a room, a meeting room with people that didn't look like me. And if you know anything about me, and maybe this may even come across on the podcast, I'm a very passionate person, and I'm very, very strong. I'm very opinionated, but I also know how to be professional. So in this particular meeting, I have a particular expertise, and it's not to say that I know it all or I know everything, but at the same time, I'm very confident in my abilities to know my job, basically. So the angry Black woman is just something that is a stigma that we will never, ever live down. And it's funny because I was scrolling through Instagram today and I saw a meme that said, people will always think that Black women are loud because we were never meant to be heard. And that just struck a chord with me, I'm telling you, because I was just like, okay, I was definitely reminded of the fact that A, I'm a woman, and B, I'm a Black woman. And then C, if you have an opinion about something, you always have to act in a particular manner because you don't want to come across as angry. So in this particular meeting, I had a suggestion that I thought would make the meeting more productive, and we could move on. And businesses are all about this lean business initiatives where, we work smarter, not harder. So I had an idea and I shared that idea, and it was immediately shut down. When I say immediately, like before I could even get the idea out, it was like, nope, we're not doing that. It's not going to work. We're not doing that. It doesn't even matter how it's said. It's always perceived as a Black woman being angry in the workplace. It's like, if you say something, no matter the tone, no matter the intent, it's always taken as if you're angry. And it's funny because I feel like a lot of times management or your superiors or even your coworkers will point out the fact that you have a tone or you have an attitude or whatever the situation is, because it's like this stigma that's placed upon Black women that we're just angry people. And that's just not the truth. Number one, most of the time, our ideas are stolen and or we are not given credit for them at all. And secondly, sometimes we're just really passionate because we want to do well. We want to persevere. We want career advancement. So it's not that we're angry. It's that we're trying to get our point across because 9 times out of 10, nobody's listening to us. So I just feel like that stigma that they place on us and call us angry is just so ridiculous. Anywho, back to my story. So my idea was immediately shut down, and you know what? And I kind of mentally checked out that day. Like I was just checked out because I'm just so tired of always having to hold my voice or having an idea, and even if it doesn't work, at least try it, make it seem like I'm a valuable part of the team or that I'm even part of the team, right? Because it's always like, sit down and shut up. That's kind of how I feel sometimes. And I know many of you listeners probably can relate, especially when you are in positions where you have to make decisions. And it's just like you sit there and you listen to the good old boys club and the same ideologies that haven't worked in the past, and then the lack of diversity and inclusion in the workplace that they won't even listen to your ideas. So let's fast forward to last week. So like I said, that happened a few weeks ago. And then let's fast forward to last week. Do you know that someone who happened to be in that meeting suggested the exact same idea? And she got so much praise, and we even tried it. And guess what? That idea worked. And it's funny because I was having a conversation with someone who is getting ready to retire, and they have been in the workforce for about 40 something years. And he said to me, well, you know what, Patrice? Sometimes you have to make them think it's their idea in order to get your point across or make it for the good of the company. And you know what? Although he was right, it really had me thinking about my place in the workplace, my value, my self-worth as an employee. Because if I have an idea and no one is listening to me, yet, 2 weeks later, someone else who, might I add, is not a person of color, has the exact same idea verbatim. They implement the idea and it works. How is that supposed to make me feel as an employee? It doesn't make me feel valued. It doesn't make me feel like I'm important. It doesn't make me feel like I'm part of that team. And so what happens? You mentally check out. You mentally shut down. You stop giving ideas. But for me, that's difficult because I'm very passionate and I care about the company. I care about our processes and I care about actually making a difference in our community. This is where knowing your worth in the workplace is super important, because I could be discouraged, and I'm not gonna lie, I was discouraged, but in the same breath, I know that I have value. I know that my ideas are valid, and clearly they are if someone wants to take them and use them as their own, which is fine, because the person that actually suggested it after me got so much praise and, oh, this was such a great idea, you should have heard them. If I could have walked out the room, I would. But once again, I always have to maintain being professional. This idea of the angry black woman is really in the workplace. I think about it. When I come home, I'm not known as an angry black woman. I'm not known that way to my friends. I'm not known that way to my family. But it's something about being in a workplace where they're supposed to be supportive to diversity and inclusion, but everyone always screams that black women are threats or black women are intimidated. I wear my hair in different hairstyles. It's always a fight or it's always a conversation about my hair. It's just tough. It's tough being a woman of color in the workplace. It's like everyone's talking about diversity and I have to be honest, since 45 has come in, I feel like people are trying to unify in a sense that everybody has a disdain for the state of our country. But at the same time, race relations are terrible. And for me, I thought about it. I don't know how on earth I would have lived in time in the 1960s and 50s when race relations were just insane. Like, I don't know how we lived. I always joke with my husband and say they probably would have lynched me because I don't know how I would have controlled myself, my mouth. But anyway, it's just like, it's always something in the workplace. And don't let you have an opinion about a process or an HR issue. Or, everyone's running to HR. Oh, well, she's a threat. She threatened me. She looked at me wrong. Her tone was incorrect. And it's funny because we all joke and we kind of give each other the side eye about the emails and stuff like that. We're always second guessed. We're always, everybody has to CC the world when they email us. Like, it's just insane. And I don't know why or how this ideal of the angry black woman came to be. I don't know the history of it, but I know one thing: I hate it. And I'm so tired of being considered the angry black woman when you're passionate about your job, you're knowledgeable, you're smart, and you want to make a difference. It's like that kind of stuff should be rewarded, not punished. It's insane. And I would love to have a podcast or have a conversation with other women to see how they feel and to see if they actually go through the same thing in their workplace. Because to me, it's just insane. And it's not me complaining about my job, because that's not what it is. It's more about complaining. It's more, not even complaining. It's more about me talking about the stigmas that black women face in the workplace. It's like anytime something happens, everyone just goes to look at the black woman or the black person in the job. It's like no one even considers anybody else. And I think for me, it's very difficult because I'm the one that's always on time. Always make sure that she goes above and beyond. Always make sure that I'm giving, 200% effort, because I know that everything I do is going to be scrutinized. It's going to be looked at with a microscope. Nothing I do will go smoothly because I always have to worry about my appearance. I always have to worry about keeping my attitude in check. I always have to worry about my professionalism in the workplace. And it's just like, to have a stigma on you that you're the angry black woman or that you're going to do something wrong because you're a person of color, it just doesn't make sense to me. And it makes me upset. And I know I come home and I complain to my husband and I say, as much work as I do in the workplace, no one should be bothering me. They should be focusing on the people who don't work. They should be focusing on the people who are causing the problems. But no, the finger is always pointed at the person of color. And this could be only in my career. It could be in your career. I would actually love to hear from you all to find out if you have experienced the stigma of being called the angry black woman or it being insinuating that you are the angry black woman. It just infuriates me. And the fact that you work so hard every day, you're educated, you try to perfect your craft, you try to make sure that you continue your education so that you are the best in your fields, and it still is overlooked. You're underpaid. We still only get paid, 64 cents to the dollar. It's just tough. It's really tough. So with that said, I'm going to give you some words of encouragement. So I'm reading a book called The Heart of the Matter, which is by a friend of mine who actually wrote this book. It's a really good book. And one of the things that she says in there, and I'm just going to quote her, is, when you know you, you can grow you. And I picked that, when you know you, you can grow you. Because if you know who you are, no matter what happens to you in the workplace, no matter how you are perceived, it won't faze you because you know who you are and whose you are. So our affirmation for the week is, when you know you, you can grow you. So repeat that daily this week. Well, that's my time. I thank you so much for listening. And remember, you are strong, you are fearless, and you are beautiful. Catch you next week.